Gifts. What's going on, everybody? That sounds probably a little bit off. What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing this evening? Are you doing just fine? Deb, what's going on? Tay, what's up? High Risk. Mariah, Dory, Michelle, Kate, Tracy, Sheffy, Nugbug, Legstrong, Nell, Tina, Michael Gray, what's going on? Kimberly. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? How's everything going? I really want to watch the Marjorie Taylor Greene 60 Minutes thing, but I don't know if we should. Oh, Letty, I was on TikTok earlier. Thanks, Michelle. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm honestly, I get more and more the more I do TikTok. Like, just don't like TikTok. I really don't. All I want for Christmas is competent people on TikTok, and it's all trolls and shit like that. What's up, Autumn? Tracy, what's going on? Dan? Dawn, what's up? Ashley? Amanda, what's going on? Your fantasy team, nice. I know. I'm not sure I'm even interested in. I don't know. Still trolls on YouTube, but it's not nearly as bad. Yeah, I don't even know. Like let's just take a quick listen really quick before we do debates, because I obviously want to talk a little bit about it. I sadly have seen so many people on the left falling for the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff, and I don't know why. But there was a really interesting part that I want to get into for everybody here, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene revealed what Trump supporters say behind Donald Trump's back. What Trump supporters say behind Donald Trump's back. And I was really interested to see this clip. So I was like, you know what? And it's not going to be video, obviously, because of the way YouTube works, but it's going to be audio. And I was like, let's listen to some of those clips. There's just a few clips I took out of the interview for people to listen to. So let's start with that one, okay? It's about a minute long. Let's start with that one, and then we'll go from there. These are just the interesting parts.
I'm going to ask you about this almost solid support he has among Republicans in Congress. Is there in that support fear? Does the support come about because they're afraid that they'll get death threats?
I think they're terrified to step out of line and get a nasty Truth Social post on them. Yes.
And they're watching what happened to you.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, do they talk differently?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it would shock people.
Well, let's shock people.
Okay. I watched many of my colleagues go from making fun of him, making fun of how he talks, making fun of me constantly for supporting him, to when he won the primary in 2024, they all started, excuse my language, Leslie, kissing his ass and decided to put on a MAGA hat for the first time.
So there's that one. There's that one. Here's the other one.
We did talk about the Epstein files, and he was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition to release the files. I fully believe that those women deserve everything they're asking. They're asking for all of it to come out. They deserve it. And he was furious with me.
What did he say?
He said that it was going to hurt people.
That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal right there. That she's admitting, like, I will say I don't trust her, but I believe her about the Epstein stuff. And that's not just because I don't like Trump. Right? Like, we know from all other like sources that he approached not just her, but also Lauren Boebert, and basically tried to get them to not sign on to the petition. So I believe her about that. I'll say that. I believe her about that. Do I believe her about anything else? No. Do I think she can be trusted, like on real issues? No. Do I think she'll end up on a right-wing network? Yes. All of those things are true. All of those things can be true. Doesn't have to be all or nothing, but people on the left are too quick to celebrate. People who, yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's kind of what annoys me, because like it more or less it more or less like lowers the standard of, you know, there's a bare minimum and that's it. Hating Trump is that bare minimum. It just is.
For myself, and also for my family.
It was sudden.
It was sudden.
Sheffy, thank you for the $5 super chat, Sheffy.
I stood for women who were raped when they were 14 years old.
Okay, I want to stop right here really quick. This is super important. 210 Rain, Christopher, thank you so much. The foot is not 100% great, but it's not as bad as it was. There's some issues there. I'm looking into getting like a modified sole in a shoe. So, yeah. This guy says, you sound like a brainwashed sheepdog. Hey, why don't you call in, Stoney? Call in right now. There's a number right there. Are you scared of a liberal? Or you want to call in and tell me why I'm a brainwashed sheepdog? You're not scared to talk to a liberal now, are you? I don't think so. Call in. The number's right above, Stoney. I love Trump supporters that come in and project their insecurities onto me. I'm brainwashed? I'm brainwashed? You have unwavering support for the president. Sheffy, it doesn't matter if they get them. I can still silence them. It does nothing but help me. So, yeah, I absolutely want memberships, 100%. It doesn't help them at all. It only helps me. It doesn't prevent me from muting them or anything like that. And this person's welcome to call in. So, but anyways, let's continue this really quick because this intro part was interesting.
And the president that I fought for 5 years called me a traitor for that. And so that changed the landscape of things.
So I'm going to ask you straight out. Mm-hmm. Did you surrender? Did Donald Trump run you out of town?
No, not at all. Actually, Leslie, it's more like this, is I said in my statement, I will be no one's battered wife, and I meant it. And I won't allow the system to abuse me anymore.
You really feel abused. You know, he did come.
I just can't support that statement. I'm sorry. Christopher, let's go with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Christopher. I really appreciate it. Yeah, sheepdogs are great. But I think he was implying that. I think he meant I'm a sheep, and I think he doesn't really understand why we call them sheep. Sheepdog wouldn't land the same. I'm not sure he understands that whole concept, but you know how it goes. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thomas says, I called in a couple weeks ago. We were both cordial. I just wasn't anti-Trump, nor was I pro-Trump. So we had much good content to provide the peeps. I agree with some of what he said. Yeah, Thomas, like I said, if you're willing to have a conversation with me that is above board and cordial, and you're not insulting me, then we're not going to have a problem. Right? You don't say bigoted shit. We're not going to have a problem. We can totally have a normal conversation. I just don't let these fucking people talk to me like shit, and I never will. But yeah, she's saying that she sounds like an abused woman. Guys, she was the abuser. That's why I have a problem with it. She was the abuser. She was the person hurting people. Sheffy, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, dude. I really appreciate that. A bunch of you just got memberships. You can thank Sheffy there. Tasty Lobster, OMFG, it's Jess, Michelle, C. Smith, Kristen's. But let me just continue this really quick. If you want to call in, if you're a Trump supporter, you're welcome to call in.
I'm after you pretty hard. He called you a lunatic, I'm quoting. He said all she does is complain, complain, complain in caps, and then he called you a traitor. So he hit you.
Because he will do that to anyone who doesn't support him. That's what I never understand about the unwavering loyalty of Trump supporters. Do you understand the minute you stop supporting him, he will not like you anymore? The minute you're critical of him about anything, he won't like you. He doesn't like you. You're not buddies. He wouldn't let you sleep on his doormat. And that's a reality you need to understand. But unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to get it. I really don't. If you are a Trump supporter, pick up your phone, call in 908-652-3703. I'm sensing that Trump supporters are afraid to admit they're Trump supporters right now. I know we're in kind of a slower news cycle, but I really feel like Trump supporters are afraid to admit they support Trump right now. Things are about to change very much for Trump supporters. They're about to see a lot of Republicans abandon the MAGA movement in Congress, where you're on the brink of some really big changes here. They're reporting from inside sources that there's going to be somewhat of a mass exodus, and Trump supporters are going to start. This is like starting to cave in. We saw it too in the Tennessee District 7 election. We saw Afton Bain come close. Should have never been that close. And that's also evidence the MAGA movement is crushing. Is caving in on self. Mud Fossil student says, you're so wrong. Mud Fossil student, if I'm wrong, why are you spelling you're wrong? It's crazy to tell somebody they're wrong and then use the wrong your. Why don't you call in 908-652-3703? You think Donald Trump is loyal to you? You think he'd let you sleep on his doormat? Oh, guy, Trump is definitely done. Trump is definitely done. Did you guys witness this the other day? Did anyone witness this the other day in his cabinet meeting? Did you see this, Trump supporters? Did you see him falling asleep? Do you think that's someone capable of running the country? You guys called him Sleepy Joe for how many years? How many years did you call him Sleepy Joe? And your president cannot stay awake in his own cabinet meeting. In his own cabinet meeting, he can't stay awake. Sleepy what? And I mean, we're not talking about just closing your eyes for a couple minutes. We're talking about passing out. Falling asleep, head bobbing, completely asleep. Look at the facial muscles. They don't become relaxed like that unless you're asleep. Unless you're asleep. Listen, if you're a Trump supporter, don't call me a soy boy. Call in, pick up your phone, stop being afraid of a liberal, pick up your phone, 908-652-3703, and 10 toes down, say you support Trump, but you won't do that because you're afraid. You're terrified. Not something you want to support openly. Oh, he was passed out, my guy. I have about 30 pictures of him falling asleep. I have about 30 pictures of him asleep. Don't tell me he wasn't sleeping. He was fucking sleeping. He was sound asleep during that cabinet meeting. And it was a 2-hour ass-kissing session. A 2-hour ass-kissing session. If you think Donald Trump, if you guys witnessed Donald Trump pass out multiple times in that meeting, press 1 in the chat. If you watched Donald Trump doze off multiple times and catch himself as his head was falling, we watched it live on TikTok together. We took screenshots as it was happening. Literally. This guy says, no video of him password out. Weak race baiting. What? Race baiting? Donald Trump is white. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you mean race baiting like because he's orange? Now it's okay. Now it's okay to sleep after all that golfing. Yeah, I just think it's remarkable, like calling him Sleepy Joe. Calling him Sleepy Joe when Donald Trump's sleeping through a cabinet meeting. Oh my God. There's multiple videos. There's multiple videos of him falling asleep. Like I said, I live streamed. We literally watched it on TikTok. Rice biting, you illiterate. Isn't that what I said? I literally said race baiting. You just typed it again. Rice biting, you little idiot. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're saying, liberal. Just call in. Why don't you ask me these questions on the phone? Pick up your phone and call in. What about Biden? Didn't Biden do the same thing? No, Biden didn't do the same thing.
Rick.
Biden didn't do anything similar to that. Rick, are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Rick. Is there something you want to comment on?
Oh, yeah. I'm honestly, this is my first time kind of calling in on a topic like this, and I am a Trump supporter. I was kind of interested in the previous topics you were talking about, and it kind of grabbed my attention when you mentioned Trump sleeping when Biden has been sleeping for 4 years.
Can you give me one example?
Well, I mean, so Biden, not only was he not fit to be president, but it was well known that he was on vacation more than he was actually working and in the White House working.
Can you give me one example of him sleeping first?
Well, I say that because he was he was clearly senile. He wasn't coherent. He constantly fell off the stage, couldn't walk, fell off his bike. Half of the public.
Do you think falling off your bike is the same as falling asleep during a cabinet meeting? When's the last time you saw Trump riding a bike?
No, not
By
at
the way,
all.
just so you're aware, Donald Trump played golf 261 times during his first term as president.
Right. He's a very good golfer.
It looks like
he's
it looks
physically
like
fit
it's going to
and-
be more than that this time. But can you give me one example of Donald Trump riding a bike? Because him exercising and falling off a bike doesn't mean he's senile. And you're not a physician, I would assume, right? You're not a physician. You're a Trump supporter, so I would imagine you're not a physician.
Right, but you don't have to be a physician you don't have to be a physician to clearly see that Biden was not fit to be president.
Based off what?
The facts, his condition. For just one example, a complete embarrassment of the last debate he did with Trump. It was absolutely embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. Oh, so you mean because he said some like crazy things during the debate, you mean?
It was so bad that legacy media could no longer cover up the fact that Biden was not fit to be president.
Okay, can you do me a quick favor? I'm going to put you on hold here. I don't want you to hang up. I'm just going to put you on hold, and I want you to turn my live stream on. I'm going to play something I want you to hear, okay?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was what Donald Trump said during his last debate with Kamala Harris. So let's take a listen.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again.
Let's bring the caller back on. I saw someone say something, too, about whataboutism. The conversation was about Donald Trump falling asleep in a cabinet meeting. When you start talking about Biden, that's the whataboutism. So Donald Trump was talking about eating dogs and eating cats in his last debate. Don't tell me he had a bad debate. Trump embarrassed himself in that debate, right? Now, Biden is old. No one's saying he's not old, okay? But Trump is also old. So you guys making it seem as if somebody said he's trolling. No, he wasn't trolling. He followed up on it the next day and claimed it was true until it was debunked. Biden's old like Trump's old. And now Trump's falling asleep in his own cabinet meetings, and you guys are denying that he's not capable of being president of the United States. And I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I'm tired of you. Now it's okay to fall asleep. He literally fell asleep in his own cabinet meeting. Is that not a problem for you, sir?
So, okay, so I hear you, but so as far as the age, Biden and him both being old, my grandmother's 80, and she doesn't belong stepping foot out of the front door. Everybody's different. Some people could be 90, 100, and fit as a fiddle. And the fact was Biden was not fit to be president. Trump is absolutely fit to be president. He performs above and beyond his duties as president.
What?
And
no, he doesn't.
Just my opinion, I think he fell asleep because he's constantly working. He's up all night, hours of the night, doing his job, making sure his people under him are doing their job. They've even, claimed or shared that on podcasts and news that they've never had a boss over them that have worked them so hard, make sure they're doing their job. And yeah. I just don't agree with the whole thing where Trump falling asleep. Not only I don't agree that it's an issue, but I don't think it has anything to do or a sign of him being fit to
So
be
let me ask you a
president.
question. Let me ask you a question. Whitney, thank you so much, Whitney. Let's pretend that you're at work, okay? You work for some kind of major corporation and you're an employee
Okay.
for said corporate, or you actually, let's say in this case, you're the boss of a major corporation, but you have,
Okay.
someone above you, and you hold a board meeting and you fall asleep in that board meeting. Do you think that your boss is going to question whether or not you're capable of managing said corporation?
I think that he may question that you're capable of holding that meeting at that time. If your
You
boss or
fell
whoever
asleep.
you answer to.
You fell
Yeah,
asleep.
I hear you.
And then furthermore,
I
let's
hear
pretend your boss calls you in and asks you, "Sir, what's your first name?"
My first name,
Yeah.
Rick.
And your boss calls you in and says, "Hey, Rick, why did you fall asleep in this board meeting?" And you say, "Sorry, boss, I was up all night tweeting." Somebody in the chat said he is the boss. No, he's not, Steve. The American people are the boss of this country. We the people, hence we the people are the boss of this country. Trump works for us, just like every other dirtbag politician. So again, you can make this claim, right, that it's okay to sleep now. I don't even really have to say anything in response. I'm just simply pointing out the very obvious hypocrisy. You don't care because it's Trump. He could fall.
I do hear you.
Yeah, it's
I do
embarrassing.
hear you, but I'm not claiming it's okay. I think it's ridiculous to go to the extent of saying, "Oh, now he's not fit to be president. Oh, now he's, not okay." That's how I feel. I don't think falling asleep, especially in his position as the commander in chief, falling asleep is okay. I don't think that. I just don't think it's an evidence to go that far to say,
let me
he's
give you
not
an example
okay.
why. Let me give you an example why, okay? Actively right now, Donald Trump is involved in a negotiation to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Okay? This war, you do understand, very serious, potentially negative implications for the United States. You understand what those are, correct?
I absolutely do understand that.
Okay. So you understand Poland borders Ukraine, and Poland is a NATO country, and if Russia attacks Poland, if they absorb Ukraine because you've weakened their sovereignty and they attack Poland, that triggers Article 5 of the NATO agreement. You understand why that would be problematic for our country, right?
Okay, I'm listening,
okay.
yeah.
So when someone can't stay awake in a board meeting, it's kind of concerning that they're leading the negotiation on whether or not this country is going to go to war in the next decade. We're talking about incredibly serious negotiations that he's leading the charge of. And if he can't stay awake, in a 2-hour cabinet meeting, then I don't consider him capable of negotiating the future of my children. And I don't think anyone should. You guys, the point is you guys are willing to support him no matter what. He could fall asleep in the negotiation with Putin, and you guys would still say, you know what? He's tired. He was golfing yesterday. There is no line in the sand for Trump supporters.
Well, you shouldn't generalize, because I try to be as fair as possible. I do agree with you that him falling asleep is an issue. Now, I do feel that it is something not serious where you can fix it with, "Hey, President, maybe you should get some sleep." And that's something that can be fixed overnight, and then it doesn't affect this whole big deal that you're referring to with Ukraine and Russia. Having to do with Ukraine and Russia, this whole thing and potentially fixing it and ending the war is only because of Trump. It's because of him that this is possible, and only because of Biden and his administration, they fueled this disgusting war, killing millions of people to fill their pockets and their donors' pockets of the military industrial.
Wait a second. So first of all, how is the war in Ukraine the fault of Joe Biden? Alicia, thank you for the $5 super chat. Let's break this down. How is the war in Ukraine the fault of Joe Biden? And I want you to explain also, when did they annex Crimea?
Oh, okay. So Biden, the reason I blame Biden specifically is because of all of the billions of dollars that he gave them to continue the war, allowing the war to kill millions of people. If my personal opinion is we shouldn't have given them $1 and let whatever happens, and the war not only would be over, but it wouldn't have killed so many people. Yeah, maybe Russia would have taken Ukraine, but that's not our problem. And I know that you may say, oh, what about this and that and that? I'm being very general, but Trump has been amazing. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for all the wars that he's ended, and I truly believe he will be successful at ending this Ukrainian-Russian war.
So first of all, I want to correct a couple things. The president doesn't give money to other countries. So that's number one. I'm not sure you have a good grasp of who's giving money. This was a bipartisan decision by Congress. Congress authorizes the majority of aid that's sent to Ukraine. But more importantly, this aid is spent within the United States, right? This defense funding goes towards purchasing weapons and equipment and supplies from U.S. defense contractors. So it's actually good. Excuse me, sir. I need you to listen now, okay? This actually supports American jobs and industry, right? And the money you're talking about is a loan, which is a very small portion. Majority of that aid is spent in the United States, right? It's not like we're giving them briefcases of cash, okay, to support their to support the war. But more importantly, it's appropriated by Congress. It is not. You're blaming Biden for a bipartisan decision to support Ukraine. The reason we're supporting Ukraine is because we have an agreement, an obligation through the 94 Budapest Memorandum, because Ukraine surrendered their nuclear stockpile, and in return they got security assurances that we would assist in their defense if ever invaded. When you surrender your nuclear stockpile, you become more vulnerable to invasion. As a part of that deal, as a part of that diplomatic effort to have them surrender those weapons, we agreed to defend them if they were ever invaded. So everything you just said is false.
Okay. Well, so to answer that, the reason why I blame the Biden administration is because Congress wasn't constructed like it was right now. So it's technically not bipartisan. It was completely dominated by Democrats. And then I understand that the money isn't given to them. It is, like you said, to buy weapons
from who?
From us,
from our defense contractors. And what is that in turn?
So the money goes into those.
Does buying that from U.S. defense contractors support American jobs in industry or Ukraine jobs in industry?
It supports American jobs. What it also does is the money goes into the pockets of the defense contractors who line the pockets of the Biden administration, which encourages and motivates them to make these decisions to fund Ukraine. And that's why I blame them.
Except you can't substantiate anything that you just said. Number two, again, Congress appropriates the funds. It was bipartisan. So you're telling me you blame Republicans as well then?
Well, like you said at the beginning of our conversation,
Give me evidence
all
that these profits were
politicians
funneled
are
directly to
crooked
Biden.
and grimy.
Well, give me evidence that the funds were funneled to Biden.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll wait
Not
because
only
you
with
do
this,
know
I'm
there
not
was a
saying just this
14
situation.
because you do know there was a 14-month investigation into Joe Biden and they couldn't even impeach him. They didn't even have
whose
enough
FBI?
evidence. They didn't even have enough evidence to support articles of impeachment, let alone a criminal.
They didn't have, or they didn't want to use.
They did.
Or,
well, why wouldn't they use it?
Divine,
Divine, why are you using
Divine?
Why are you using a profile picture from 1994? Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying that the FBI during the Biden administration was absolutely crooked, corrupt, and not doing the job.
So why
that
didn't
they
they
were
impeach
supposed
him?
to going after.
So why didn't they impeach him? There was a 14-month
didn't they?
investigation into it. Why didn't they impeach him?
Because it was in the best interest of the deep state and the people pulling the strings while Biden was in office making the decisions.
You're
Like
just
when they use auto
you're just peddling conspiracies you can't substantiate.
Not at
Now
all.
you're going to claim that they didn't impeach him because they had the evidence, but it was in the best interest of the deep state to not impeach him at that time. They didn't have any evidence. They admitted they didn't have any evidence. They begged to impeach him. Democrats begged Republicans to impeach him. They didn't have any evidence.
They wanted Kamala Harris to be president.
So wait, is Donald Trump a part of that same deep state? Because these same Republicans are a part of the MAGA movement and support Trump right now in Congress and are listening to every word he says. Hold on. These same Republicans, like Mike Johnson, who supported, right, funding Ukraine, the same people you're claiming assisted in funneling money through defense contractors back to the Biden administration, are still in Congress supporting Donald Trump. So are they a part of is Trump a part of the deep state then, or did they suddenly leave the deep state?
Well, those people you're referring to, the Republicans, are. I don't believe that Trump is part of the deep state. And again, like you said, you can say that all politicians, or most, are dirty and corrupt. And one thing that you claimed I said, which I didn't, I'm not defending any Republicans that you're referring to.
Trump is a Republican.
Right. So I'm defending him in this situation and the discussion we're having.
So you're not. So every other Republican that supports him, that's a part of the MAGA movement, is also part of the deep state movement, but he's not.
No, not.
You understand how this conspiracy makes no sense, right? That's why it's ridiculous.
It was a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. Okay, substantiate right now that money went through defense contractors back to the Biden administration. Don't give me your opinion. Substantiate with evidence that money was funneled through defense contractors and went back to the Biden administration.
So what is a fact is certain defense contractors are donors and donate money.
No, that's not what I asked you. I specifically asked you to provide evidence that the profits were funneled directly to the Biden administration from defense contractors. I want names and I want evidence. Where did you read this? Where is the evidence so I can look at it?
I hear you, and it would take anybody hours to get you that information.
No,
but what I'm telling you is
wouldn't.
The fact
it wouldn't.
they.
Frankie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. All MAGA knows is Biden bad, Trump good. Their brains are well. Listen, they're willing to pretzel themselves in any way to try and make their argument fit. Right? It's a square peg through a round hole. That's what it is. Listen, I'm going to explain this to you very simply put, okay?
Okay.
Number one, right? Biden's not responsible for what's happening in Ukraine. What's happening in Ukraine is the fault of Vladimir Putin. And you perpetuating conspiracies that it's the fault of a former president is Russian propaganda. It's Russian propaganda. You understand that, correct?
Well, okay, so that is not, you're putting words in my mouth.
No,
but
I'm not.
What I am saying,
You literally said
what
it.
I am saying, my point is that Trump is the only president that Vladimir Putin didn't wage war or take territory from other countries during his administration. During Trump's administration was the only time that Putin was well behaved.
He's doing it right now. He's doing it.
During
Excuse
the
me.
Biden administration.
He's doing
and
it.
Trump is fixing
Guy,
it.
he's launched the deadliest attack since the beginning of the war under Trump. What are you talking about? He's actively playing Trump like a fiddle as we speak. You don't know what you're talking about.
A response. That deadly attack was a response for the U.S. weapons that Biden gave.
No, it's not. It's happening. Trump is actively telling. Oh, then you disagree with Trump, right? Who says there's no justification for what they're doing right now? Not sure why they're doing this. Like, what don't you understand?
Russia?
Explain to me. So the war crimes, were they retaliation for the U.S. weapons? What about?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah, no, they've committed war crimes throughout the war. He's deported Ukrainian children to Russian-occupied territory. That's a war crime. He's unalived entire towns of civilians, tied their hands behind their back, shot them execution style, and put them in mass graves. He's bombed schools. He's bombed hospitals. He's targeted hospitals. He's a war criminal.
Yep, I agree. And what I'm saying is
it's his fault.
He wouldn't have done that stuff. My point is that he wouldn't have done that stuff. Wouldn't have happened if Trump was president.
What are you? He is doing it while Trump's president.
No, Trump
yes,
is
he is. He's doing it right
Biden.
now, dude. He's literally provoking NATO under Trump.
It started way before Trump. My point is
it's happening under Trump. Trump also promised to end the war within 24 hours after becoming president-elect, and then pivoted and said, "No, I meant after the inauguration." And guess what? Didn't do either of them. They played him. They played him like a fool, and he laid out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. He flew B-52 bombers over. Said, "Let me just break this down for you, Frankie. Thank you so much, Frankie." Frankie says Trump had our own troops on their hands and knees rolling out a red carpet for Putin, but sure, he makes Putin behave. Let me explain something really quick. Let's just talk about the negotiations. Have you read the 28 and 19-point peace plan?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't read it.
Sure. So tell me roughly, what are they saying about the Donbass region in terms of territorial concessions?
Well, I believe they made a point of that because of what Trump is trying to do, trying to get paid back for our money. I believe it's because in that region is rich with the minerals that Trump
it's going
is
to Russia.
Right. I hear you.
Right. That's not paying the U.S. back. What that does is
exactly.
Right. So what happens to Ukraine's economic viability if you surrender their economic heartland?
They can't pay us back.
No, they die. They go under.
Right.
They suffer a Great Depression, and Russia swallows them. So as we're talking about ongoing negotiations with an incompetent leader like Trump, who wants to allow a cap on their military, doesn't want to give any real security assurances. The security assurances are incredibly vague that include renouncing any future NATO membership, surrendering large portions of the Donbass region, which will make their economic viability much weaker. You're just weakening their sovereignty, generally speaking. So after they've been invaded, right, you're letting Putin off the hook by claiming this is the fault of the United States. He decided to invade them. He claimed that there was a denazification effort and that NATO shouldn't expand eastward. Let me ask you, is there a treaty, an existing treaty that prevents the eastward expansion of NATO?
Not in our treaty, not
No, I'm
or
asking,
not
is there a
in-
treaty that prevents the eastward expansion of NATO?
Not, I don't believe so.
The answer is no. So that means using the eastward expansion of NATO as a justification to unalive innocent people, which he did, is not justified. And any other theories about blaming the United States, right, and blaming President Biden is Russian propaganda. And just so you know, we also have intelligence that Putin felt it was a good time to invade because of how weak, right, how much division there was in the United States post January 6th, if you really want to get into like a president's responsibility. But it's definitely not Biden's responsibility. You need to pay much closer attention to the ongoing negotiations, because if he had a more if he didn't come out and start sitting down with Putin and further emboldening him to commit these atrocities and making him think these things were okay, and took Biden's approach, then maybe we wouldn't be in this position. Because these ongoing
negotiations. What approaches did Biden take? Because
he not
he didn't
sitting
reach
down,
out to nobody.
supporting Ukraine. Ukraine needs our support, right? And needs the support of Europe to make sure that Russia does not swallow Ukraine and ultimately attack Poland, right, who's a NATO ally, and trigger Article 5 of the NATO agreement. That is the policy. Instead, Trump came in and tried to be his buddy. He belittled Zelensky in the White House, made fun of him, talked about what clothes he was wearing. Basically,
he was a joke. He
disrespected
the U.S.
So wait. Hold on. He disrespected the U.S. by doing what?
Did you hear when he came to the U.S., they had him at the White House, and the way he talked
I watched
to Trump, and
he was incredibly respectful.
We weren't watching the same thing because J.D. Vance had to jump in and tell him to check himself and watch how he talks to the President of the United States.
Yeah,
and
so you think that's what happened?
There is a language barrier.
Hold on, you think that's what happened? Let's see if we can pull that up, guys. He had to say check himself? What are you talking? He's the president of Ukraine, right? Let's see. Hold on. Let's take a listen. Let's see if you guys consider this being disrespectful. I want you to turn the live stream on. I'm going to put you on hold for a second.
Okay.
J.D. Vance was being disrespectful, not Zelensky. J.D. Vance was being disrespectful, not Zelensky. Let's take a listen to this really quick, just so everybody can understand. Because these Trump supporters, they like to make up scenarios that didn't happen.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to
hear him yelling?
Trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
I'm not dictating.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war,
you're not in a good position. You don't have the
the
cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the
president
lives of millions of people.
You're
gambling with World War III.
What do you think
You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
It's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
wearing
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of
Entire meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the
What's
United
not
States
true.
of America
Speaking about-
and the president who's trying to save your country.
So you tell me right there, J.D. Vance, who's shouldn't even be speaking in this meeting, interrupts the president of another country, right? When Trump is quite literally making statements that are not true about his country, trying to blame him for what's happening, and he's being disrespectful? Explain to me how he was disrespectful in that meeting. Go ahead.
Vladimir Putin, or
No. Don't say Vladimir Putin, sir. Do you know why?
No.
Let me just say something. You know why you know that's not Vladimir Putin? Because Trump
No, I know.
wouldn't dare talk that way to Vladimir Putin. He wouldn't dare. It's easy to talk that way to the president of a democratically elected country with no nuclear deployment capabilities. It's not easy to say that to an authoritarian who's perfectly willing to get down. Go ahead.
I hear you, and I believe that they have mutual respect for one another, and I believe that is a big reason why it's good that Trump is our president going through this whole war situation between Ukraine and Russia. I believe that Trump has the best ability to conclude it so no more people die, and
they are
so on
dying
and so
right
forth.
now. Why do you keep acting like
I
the
agree.
war, there's been a ceasefire? They're dying right now. Trump couldn't negotiate a ceasefire before the negotiations for a peace plan. Do you know what they wanted? Do you know what Biden wanted? He wanted a ceasefire. That's why he didn't sit down with Putin, because he knew Putin wouldn't agree to a ceasefire. If you agree to a ceasefire, then we can sit down and negotiate a long-term peace plan for this country.
That's a weird way to show that you want a ceasefire by doing things and give Ukraine the ability and specific weapons to taunt Russia and to continue the fighting and killing.
So you think something comes out of sitting down with these authoritarians? Is it coming out of it right now? It's December. Donald Trump's pushing a year in
I know
office.
what doesn't.
Donald Trump's pushing a year in office. We've suffered the most deadly attack under his administration since the beginning of the war. What came out of Donald Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un, right? They signed a comprehensive agreement, and he broke it weeks later. Nothing comes out of meeting these authoritarians. They use the meetings as propaganda on their own people in their state media. It only further legitimizes them, right? When you lay out the red carpet for an authoritarian like this, it only further legitimizes them. It's done nothing to stop the war. But if you demand a ceasefire before we sit down, and listen, morale was low in the Russian military. Morale was low.
Right.
They were not doing well.
It still is.
We had reports at one time they were using World War II era tanks. They were so depleted. Right. So we were headed in the right direction. Trump thought he could get in and play Putin with flattery, right? Like Trump gets played with flattery, right? Because Trump falls for flattery by other leaders. Putin doesn't. And Putin's playing him. And now he's demanding insane territorial concessions and insane caps on his military, making them unable to fight off any future threats. And then additionally, super vague in the way of security assurances. So you're weakening their economic viability, and you're weakening their sovereignty. You're weakening their ability to defend themselves against future threats. So when they suffer an economic Great Depression, Russia will take Ukraine, and then they will attack a NATO ally in Poland, and your children will die in Moscow.
Right. I agree. 100% that's true. Also, on that note, it doesn't matter who the American president is. Vladimir Putin will always be that way, will always act and make decisions in that fashion. And my point is that our best chance of a good outcome and result with this whole mess is Trump as president. Certainly not Biden or Kamala Harris.
I've already proven. Okay, so oh my God, Guy,
That's just my point.
No, because what you're doing is you're
president.
missing the point. You're in your mind, this war ending even for a year is an accomplishment. And that's all Donald Trump cares about. He's a very short-term thinker, hence why he dropped bunker busters on Iran and tore up a diplomatic solutions to having them surrender their weapons-grade or enriched uranium, or being able to monitor their weapons-grade enriched uranium. Donald Trump only cares about...
That was a bad idea?
Yeah, I think it's not a long-term solution without diplomacy. I think diplomacy is what solves...
With Iran?
Yes, specifically in regards to having countries...
And
well,
you think...
give me one other time historically where a country has
What
surrendered...
do you think would be happening right
I'm going to
now,
ask you
or
in the form of a question. You're still thinking short-term. I'm going to ask you in the form of a question so I don't have to go down this path with you. Give me one time historically where a country has surrendered their nuclear deployment capabilities without diplomatic action.
None, because
thank you. So
that's the only way to get to a result like that is diplomatically.
Right. And Trump tore up the diplomatic solution and instead used a military solution in dropping bunker busters that Israel's military is not in possession of, so you could destroy their enrichment facilities. That does nothing to stop Iran from attempting to develop weapons-grade enriched uranium. Okay? That does nothing to stop them long term from developing weapons grade enriched uranium. So years from now we could be in the exact same position. But in regards to Russia and Ukraine, let's say you have a peace deal, right, that ultimately weakens their country, their sovereignty, their economy, their economic viability, right? Their military. So okay, we stop the war and that we haven't even gotten to that point yet, and we're a year in. Let's say you stop it for 3 years. Is that a success? No, I don't think it is. I think it can end up being worse for our country.
It's better than no ceasefire.
But I'm saying it's not ending the war, right? If you're weakening the sovereignty of the country that was invaded, that's not a success. Do you understand what I mean? It's not a... I'm trying to get through to you here. Okay, so if you saw that first plan, right, and you see what they're trying to do in terms of territorial concessions, then you would understand that these negotiations favor Russia, not Ukraine. So you're going to ultimately weaken their sovereignty and make it more likely Russia will swallow them in the future, forcing the United States to go to war when they decide to attack Poland, which, by the way, every credible person says they plan on doing. Our own intelligence agencies indicate that Russia plans on attacking Poland if successful in Ukraine. I always reference this when I talk about this conversation with people. Vladimir Putin stated the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. He cares more about recreating the Soviet Union than anything else.
Right. Are you there?
Yep.
Breaking up a little bit. I heard that he about the collapse of the Soviet Union was
Yana, thank you so much for the $10 Cash App, Yana. What I said was Vladimir Putin claimed in 2005 that the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. Can you tell me, was the collapse of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century?
Depends on for who.
What?
For him?
No. He said was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of this century. Was the collapse of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century?
I don't believe so.
Right, because obviously the Holocaust is a greater geopolitical catastrophe, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty insane statement to make unless you're Vladimir Putin, whose entire purpose is to recreate the Soviet Empire. I'm
Correct.
just telling you, I understand Putin. I believe he wants to create a deal that ultimately weakens their ability to fight off any future threats.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, so then you can't claim that's a successful negotiation by Trump.
And I did it. I never said it was a success. What I said was it's certainly not a success what was going on from the Biden administration. The whole strategy of funding them with whatever you want to call it, money or weapons deals.
They would have swallowed Ukraine.
All that did was kill millions of people.
They would have swallowed you. They still would have died. They would have swallowed Ukraine. Yes, they would have swallowed Ukraine. Dude, they're committing ethnic cleansing. They're literally committing SA against Ukrainian women, saying this is so we hope you don't have a Ukrainian child. Don't tell me people wouldn't have died if we didn't support them.
Unavoidable.
No, they would have been supported regardless. Okay, they would have had support from NATO, but regardless, it doesn't matter. That you're saying they wouldn't have done this. They absolutely would have done this. They would have still killed people. They still would have committed war crimes. Yep. I highly encourage you to go look up the Bucha massacre, when that occurred and what happened. I encourage you to go look up some of these war crimes that have been committed. But the point is, when you are trying to negotiate an effective peace plan, you need a ceasefire. You can't just negotiate and have bombs dropped on your head. You can't effectively negotiate that way. So now it's a race to just ending the war rather than trying to fight back, which Ukraine wanted to do, deplete their resources a little bit, which we know we were doing. They were using early 1940s tanks. We were on the correct path. You don't sit down and flatter them and attempt to flatter them into compliance. That does not work, as you're witnessing right now.
I agree with you.
Okay. Thanks for calling in.
No worries. Hey, I enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care. Guys, if you guys could just give me 1 second really quick. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody's day going? Do you have your Christmas tree up? We can't stop Russia if we wanted to. I mean, we could, but you don't want to put boots on the ground. You don't want to conduct direct strikes. I mean, do we technically have the military technology to do it? Yeah. Russia's depleted. There's no doubt about it. Ukraine's given them a hell of a fight. A lot of people have died, obviously, and I want people to stop dying. But it has to be negotiated in a way that does not give Russia a stronger foothold in the region. And this negotiation is being conducted without any consideration for the future. And again, this has been a trend in regards to his foreign policy, not just about this particular war. This has been a trend. We saw this with Iran as well. We've seen this with Israel and Palestine. Again, it has to be done with consideration, right, for strengthening Ukraine's sovereignty, right? So to ultimate, and again, part of it because they're a country with, that is sovereign, and we shouldn't set precedent that an authoritarian dictator can invade a completely sovereign nation with a democratically elected leader and take their country over, but that it also separates Russia and Poland. And if they take Ukraine and they attack Poland, you're going to war. So if you're an able-bodied male or you have children who are able-bodied, I want you to remember, you will be the first in line. You will be the first in line. Be careful what you wish for. There's one person to blame for this war. One, and it's Vladimir Putin. That's the only person to blame. So boycott the World Cup. The World Cup thing was weird. The FIFA trophy was weird. I just wanted to play this other part really quick because I don't know if I'm going to have a chance. This Marjorie Taylor Greene was on 60 Minutes. Marjorie Taylor Greene was on 60 Minutes, and I just wanted to play this other part because I don't know if I'm going to get a chance here. So let's just take a second here because I want to make sure I play this part. There was just two parts, and Marjorie Taylor Greene has obviously turned on MAGA. I do not like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I just think it's relevant, the stuff with the Epstein files and the other stuff. So I want to just bring this up really quick, this part.
Me a traitor. I got a pipe bomb. After President Trump called me a traitor, I got a pipe bomb threat on my house, and then I got several direct death threats on my son.
On your son?
On my son.
You say the president put your life in danger. You blame him. You say he fueled a hotbed of threats against me, and that you blame him for the threats against your son.
The subject line for the direct death threats on my son was his words, Marjorie Traitor Greene. Those are death threats directly fueled by President Trump. I told him, I told J.D. Vance, I told them all, sent those directly to them.
Response?
J.D. Vance replied back to me, we'll look into it. I got response back from President Trump that I will keep private, but it wasn't very nice.
Give us a hint of what the president said.
It was extremely unkind.
I'm going to ask you about this almost solid support he has among Republicans in Congress. Is there in that support fear? Does the support come about because they're afraid that they'll get death threats?
I think they're terrified to step out of line and get a nasty Truth Social post on them.
I love this comment this person just left. Is the left still more violent, Marge? Exactly, Kyle. Exactly.
Yes.
And they're watching what happened to you.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, do they talk differently?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it would shock people.
Well, let's shock people.
Okay. I watched many of my colleagues go from making fun of him, making fun of how he talks, making fun of me constantly for.
I'm telling you guys, this is going to be the thing. I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I love this part. She's going to now expose other Republicans who have been bad-mouthing Trump behind his back and create a ton of infighting. There's going to be a ton of infighting.
For supporting.
We already know there's a mass exodus coming in Congress from the GOP.
Him to when he won the primary in 2024, they all started, excuse my language, Leslie, kissing his ass and decided to put on a MAGA hat for the first time.
Are you MAGA?
I am America First.
And that's not the same as MAGA.
MAGA is President Trump's phrase. That's
Guys, pay attention. She's now saying she's not MAGA.
And that's not the same as MAGA.
First time.
Are you MAGA?
I am America First.
And that's not the same as MAGA.
MAGA is President Trump's phrase. That's his political policies. I call myself America First.
But you're not saying you're MAGA.
I'm America First.
The White House.
Wow. Republicans, I'm telling you, it's caving in. The support, everything's caving in. We saw what happened in these most recent elections. We saw what happened in District 7 in Tennessee with Afton Bain and Epps. They had Donald Trump on the phone, on speakerphone, calling in out of desperation, out of complete and total desperation. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Out of complete desperation, they had him on speakerphone. That election never should have been that close. Should have never been that close. The signs are there. Yeah, so you're a Trump supporter?
Right.
Okay, and why are you a Trump supporter?
Why wouldn't I be? It's a better question.
Sure, I can answer that. Let's just talk with some of the most recent. I mean, I can give you a million reasons constitutionally, in terms of democracy, in terms of.
I just need one.
No, I could give you a ton. So I'm just going to start with the most recent news. The Epstein stuff, I think, is a really solid reason why you shouldn't support him.
What Epstein stuff?
So there's two parts to the conversation. One is the concerted effort to conceal it, and the other is the stuff. To what extent he had a relationship with Epstein in the files, but the concerted effort to conceal it by weaponizing both the FBI and the Department of Justice.
So
right?
wait, what exactly was his relationship with Epstein? What exactly was the relationship with Epstein?
They were friends.
Oh, they were friends?
They were friends, yeah.
So two guys who were ultra billionaires knew each other? Shocking.
No, they did more than know each other. So again, if you want to have the conversation, we can have the conversation.
What else did they do? What happened?
I'm going to explain.
Exactly.
Did you hear what I just said?
You're not explaining. You're talking a bunch of shit. Get to the point, dude. And
Listen,
don't run for me and hang up. Because I talk to liberals, they run because they can't. No, you listen.
Dude, I'll do whatever. They probably hang up.
When I'm ready, I will.
Do you ever think it's because you
They run because you don't see me hanging up.
Well,
I'm not hanging up or running.
Stop talking and let me explain. So if you heard what I said,
answer the fucking question then.
Guy, you need to calm down. You're not nearly as smart as you think you are. I promise you. So, and I'm about to prove that. Yeah, I'm about to prove it. Watch. Effort to conceal the files, and the other is to the relationship of which he had to what extent he had a relationship with Epstein. I don't know specifically whether or not he engaged in abuse, whether he facilitated, right? Whether he
what is your point? What you don't
stop
you don't
talking.
Know. You don't
stop
know.
talking.
So he knew
stop talking. I'll just
no. You stop talking.
Shut up.
You're telling.
So this is why you guys says people hang up on me. That's because you're interrupting. In a debate, you have to let the person make their point. I'm going to give you a chance to have a rebuttal, but you have to shut your mouth. So let's start with the
get to your fucking point then.
Let's start with the concerted effort to conceal it, right? When Donald Trump first found out he was in the files.
Conceal what?
He tried to
if you have evidence that he did something to a child, let me know. Other than that, I don't give a good goddamn if two rich guys knew each other and you have no evidence for any negativity or anything happened.
If you shut your mouth.
The fact that you don't like Trump, that's all you're...
Can you shut up so I can make my argument?
Exactly.
I can lay out articles of
impeachment. He's going to run.
Dude, you're just screaming over
I'm
me.
sure you could.
You're just screaming
over
me. No, you're not
listening.
You're not letting your concerted effort
what evidence? I'm still waiting. It's been like 3 minutes. You haven't gone anywhere with this.
I can explain, dumbass. Shut
the
fuck
they flip
up.
Out, they hang up, they run, they lose their they
Oh my
God.
Nothing. You want someone to explain, you won't shut up.
What? You don't have an answer. That's your fucking...
Have a good day. Have a good day. Let me know if you want to debate. You're fucking scared. That's why. You're scared of me. You're scared. That's why you fucking... don't want me to talk, because if I talk, you fucking lose, and you know it. If you're a Trump supporter who wants to actually let me speak, 908-652-3703. He's doing it so you kick him. Of course. He's scared. He's scared. He's absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. You ask me to explain, and then you start crying. Let's see if this guy
Larry.
will let me. Yeah, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, listen.
For the most part.
All right, listen, I'm going to tell you, don't scream over me like that last guest. Or I'm going to elaborate on, do you want me to finish my point? You know what? Let me finish my point with that last guest so we can just show him that he's wrong, or I can show him that he's wrong. And you can try and defend it. Deal?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Cool. So let's talk about the concerted effort to conceal it. We have to lay out a timeline of what happened here. Donald Trump is informed late April, early May. He's in the files. He starts telling people it's a hoax, right? You remember that. Wendy, thank you so much for the jewels. Appreciate you, Wendy. Guys, I would appreciate contributing to the gifting goal. Everybody hitting the thumbs up button. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss these lives in the future. So he starts telling people it's a hoax. The Oversight Committee says, well, we're going to subpoena the testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell. And Donald Trump sends Todd Blanche to go sit down with her prior to her testimony in front of the Oversight Committee. Do you know who Todd Blanche is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Honestly,
Todd Blanche is the Todd Blanche is the deputy. It's irrelevant. Just let me explain. Todd Blanche is the deputy attorney general. Okay, he's Donald Trump's former personal attorney. The reason I ask you that is because it's relevant here, because he was the person defending Donald Trump in his criminal cases just months prior. He was his criminal defense attorney. So Todd Blanche sits down with Ghislaine Maxwell. I made a video back in July of accusing that of being a meeting to interfere with the Oversight Committee's investigation into whether or not Donald Trump had a criminal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and accused that meeting of being quid pro quo. They sit down. Days later, she gets moved to a minimum security prison in Camp Bryan, Texas. A minimum security prison where we now know she's receiving preferential treatment. Yes. So he's done that, right? That's totally illegal. Absolutely 100% in an attempt to secure the narrative about anything criminal. We didn't get anything new out of that meeting. All we got was that she never witnessed Donald.
What evidence?
Go ahead.
What evidence is it an executive order that you have? That was an executive order to do that. What's your evidence?
What are you talking about? It was an executive order.
Is it an executive order to move Maxine to move her to a limited?
Maxine Waters.
Was it an executive order, or was it an order?
Maxine Waters is
which
Maxine
person
Waters
was it an order to?
Maxine Waters is not involved.
Maxine Waters. I know.
You're majorly lost. How about you just stop talking? Okay, that'd be the best bet for now. So
one second. What's your evidence that it came from Donald Trump?
Oh,
that order that where she was supposed to
be. The evidence is, so here I'll give you the evidence. It's called Occam's razor. Do you know what Occam's razor is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't know a lot, it seems. But anyway, the point is, so let me ask you, so you think it was just a coincidence that the deputy attorney general, who's Donald Trump's former personal attorney, just coincidentally went and sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell once they found out her testimony was going to be subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee? You don't think that that's a...
I think it's a cover-up of something that's got more nuances that's over Donald Trump's head.
Okay, so
there's a lot of nuances with this case, and it's not a trafficking... Hear me out. Hear me out, please. If you read One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb, Volume 1 and Volume 2, it gives a lot of information on the Epstein case. The Epstein case is more complex than just trafficking of kids. It was blackmailing high officials and different types
I'm well
of
aware of this.
So, have you read the book?
No, I know about this case, and I understand that. Yeah, I don't need to, because I'm well aware of the blackmail, and I've read pretty extensively about this case. But
you need to read the book. You need to read the book.
Okay, well, that's great. Can I finish though? So the other thing
there is a lot of nuances with politics.
When there's no ongoing investigation.
Go ahead.
There's no ongoing investigation. It is out of character for a deputy attorney general to sit down with an already convicted sex offender, quid pro quo, and award her with a transfer to a minimum security prison where we've now uncovered that she is receiving preferential treatment. By the way, the survivors are outraged about this. That's only one example, though. Donald Trump has openly called it a hoax, right? There wasn't an investigation until, right? So Donald Trump's called it a hoax. I just referenced there wasn't an investigation. There's only an investigation now because Donald Trump ordered the Department of Justice to launch an investigation, coincidentally, when he couldn't convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition, which is also fucking weird as fuck. Right? What's the legal benefit? What's the legal benefit of launching an investigation once you realize that there's a bill being passed that will ultimately force the release of files that could potentially reveal information about you that's damning to your administration? What's the legal benefit of launching an investigation?
You're not going to get a lot of Republican pushback, MAGA pushback against your argument because we're on the same
I do.
side.
Don't tell me I do. I do all the time. Don't tell me what I get. I get tons of pushback.
I don't know why, because it's two sides of the same octopus. We're trying to resolve our problems with politics in the wrong way.
Are you conceding,
division is
sir?
not the way we can resolve these.
I understand that, but I need to get through the first part of this conversation, and then we can play this game that, hey, we both are trying to get to the same truth here. I've talked to nothing but Republicans that have defended Donald Trump in regards to this particular topic. When we talk about the effort to conceal that information, and we look at contradictions between the testimony she gave to Todd Blanche and emails from 2011 before Donald Trump was even in elected politics, his effort to try and get MAGA to think it was a hoax like he does with everything else. He tried the same hoax thing he did with the election with this, right? He does this with everything. Then he tried to convince Republicans like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene not to sign on to the discharge petition. Did you hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene said? He was pissed when he realized he couldn't convince her not to sign on. So the point, but listen, why is it relevant? If you can substantiate that you used the Department of Justice, do you know the primary function of the Department of Justice, sir?
I know what it legally says, but I know
what's their legal responsibility?
Different.
No, what's their legal responsibility?
The Department of Justice is the keep America safe, basically.
To protect the public's interests, to protect the interests of American citizens and uphold federal law. That's their job.
But that's not their objective.
That's not their job. Objective. That's their legal responsibility. Let me just finish. If you can prove that the Deputy Attorney General, oh, by the way, additionally, the FBI testified under oath that no young girls were trafficked to Epstein or trafficked to Epstein, or trafficked to anyone but Epstein himself. Hold on. This is the same director of the FBI that claimed he had information prior to becoming the director of the FBI, along with his deputy director of the FBI, that the current director of the FBI was in possession of a black Rolodex that had all of the names of Epstein's clients. Suddenly, there's no more clients. There's no more evidence that he was trafficked to any young girls were trafficked to anyone but himself, which, by the way, 10 victims of Epstein stood up immediately after that testimony and said that's bullshit. We've given evidence that we were trafficked to other billionaires. So he's lying under oath. The president's calling it a hoax. The deputy attorney general, who's his former personal attorney, is meeting with the only person who can say whether or not he was engaged in criminal conduct, because he has a Ghislaine Maxwell testimony. Then he tries to convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition. Then he launches an investigation because that allows him legally to plead to Congress why certain information related to that investigation should be redacted. This is impeachable. If those files are released,
you got a lot of speculation there, buddy.
It's not speculation.
It's a lot of speculation.
All of this happened.
No, you have a lot of speculation on these facts. They're not facts. It's all speculation. Patel has either dropped the ball or he is undergoing pressure from somebody else. We don't know who. There's a lot of factors that we don't know.
Wait. That's speculation. That's speculation. I'm explaining to you, right? I that's why I mentioned Occam's razor before. Yes, dude. Yes, absolutely. So let me just ask you this then. Is the director of the FBI lying when he says that there's no evidence that any young girls were trafficked to anyone but Epstein himself?
I don't think he has the evidence in front of him because it's been destroyed or hidden.
Why didn't he testify
he has the capability to finding it.
So why didn't he say that under testimony? He's under oath. He said that wasn't true. They asked him that question. Is it missing? He said no. It's just not there. They asked him that question under oath. The reason I brought up Occam's,
you jeopardize your own. You're not going to.
The reason I brought up Occam's razor is because it's a principle that says the simplest explanation is usually the best one. If there are several possible answers to a question, the one that makes the fewest assumptions is likely to be though. Let's go through it then. Did Donald Trump try and convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition?
You're still
answer my questions, please. Can you answer my questions, please? Did Donald Trump try and convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know what he did or not did.
So are Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene lying when they say that Trump literally begged them to? Other sources that he met Lauren Boebert in the Situation Room and spent a lengthy amount of time trying to convince her not to sign on to the discharge petition? The answer to that question is yes, folks. Everyone in here knows the answer is yes, but this guy didn't know who Todd Blanche was, so I'm not surprised he doesn't know that.
I can't say yes or no. I can't say yes or no what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, not under oath, not in front of a Senate hearing, just to the public media. I can't say what she says is truthful because politicians lie.
Yeah, but
period.
Is Lauren Boebert
all of
lying?
Them do. Trump does. Biden. All of them do. People go on the media and they use it, and you're a pawn if you believe everything they say.
But
don't be a pawn.
But other people
start listening and making evaluations on. Sorry?
Dude, what I'm saying to you is other people saw them. They went into the Situation Room. I'm talking about Lauren Boebert.
Hearsay.
No, oh my
hearsay.
God. Okay, guy. Yeah, it's just completely made up. It's completely made up,
it's
right?
It's hearsay. You're saying other people said it's hearsay.
Yes, the administration called her into the Situation Room and tried to persuade her to remove her name from the petition. They openly said this. Boebert said the meeting didn't change her mind. She kept her name on the discharge petition. Trump was mad about that. Regardless, I'm proving the point for the chat. They said he tried to convince him not to sign to the discharge petition. He launched an investigation, correct?
You're breaking up.
Did he launch an investigation post when he found out he couldn't convince them not to sign on to the discharge petition? Yes or no?
I don't believe so.
You're wrong. He did. He literally tweeted. Let me read it for you. Hold on. I'll read it. Hold on. Let me go to his True Social.
Did Trump launch?
Hold on. See if I can find this. You can just literally Google it.
Okay, let's say I believe you. Let's just say that.
All right, you do believe me?
Okay,
it's a fact.
For the benefit of time, I believe you.
Here we go. You can just Google it.
Okay,
in November 20.
Let's say.
Hold on. In November 2025, President Trump ordered the Department of Justice to investigate dealings of prominent Democrats with Jeffrey Epstein. This request made following the release of the Epstein files. Once the files were going to the House, which you understand they passed with only one nay vote, coincidentally a Republican in Clay Higgins, and unanimous consent in the Senate, they have a supermajority. What does it mean when you have a supermajority and a bill passes through Congress? What is that bill?
Mm-hmm. It's a supermajority. I don't know what it's called.
If a bill passes and there's only one nay vote in the House and passes with unanimous consent in the Senate, I mean, meaning all the senators greenlit it. What does that mean for the bill?
Right. Okay. It's going to go through. Usually,
the president.
Right.
What happens after a bill gets passed through Congress?
President's going to sign it.
Right.
Usually
and what does it mean if that bill? What does that
majority.
mean if that bill has only one nay vote in the House and then unanimous consent in the Senate? That bill is what?
It probably won't get
veto because it has a supermajority. It's a veto-proof.
Is it veto-proof?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I didn't think it worked like that.
It does.
I didn't know
work.
that.
It absolutely.
I didn't know. I thought the president had ability to veto any bill that came in front of his office, whether it had
you can
majority support or
override
not.
vetoes, though. You can override vetoes if you have
But
a
the president has
supermajority.
power to veto. Okay.
But the veto
so
wouldn't
fair
work
enough.
because you can override the veto. It's called a veto-proof bill. Anyway, the point is he understood that there was a crazy amount of support for the legislation. So there was no stopping it is the point. Okay? So obviously, once he sees I can't convince people in my own party to not sign on to the discharge petition, let me launch an investigation so when it does pass, I will at least. And I believe, I guess this I would say is somewhat of speculation, but I think, again, compiled with the other things that I've mentioned makes total sense in terms of, the legal responsibility, right? Those files, if anything pertains to an ongoing investigation, at least can be temporarily redacted according to the law. So, and the bill, again, I will say was carefully crafted to make sure they had to get the approval from Congress that these limitations were not supposed to be permanent and targeted towards victims of Epstein. But when you compile these things, the frustration, Marjorie Taylor Greene just said on 60 Minutes last night, Trump was pissed when she refused to take her name off the discharge petition, calling it a hoax, the stuff with Todd Blanche, the trying to convince Republicans, the launching an investigation, right? All of these things that we know, it would lead me to believe, right? And now, of course, I have files which are subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee using their congressional subpoena power from the estate. They can't be tampered with. They're in multiple different forms dating back to 2011 that contradict previous testimony in that deposition with Todd Blanche, meaning she lied and was rewarded for that lie, quid pro quo. That's securing the narrative that Trump there's something in those files about Trump that he doesn't want the public to read. And so if it's released,
I think
it's that there is something.
I think it's more of a national security. I don't think it's a personal issue with the releasing the file. I think it's a national security issue that he thinks in his mind is going to be the issue, because you're dealing with foreign governments and the consequences are going to really hurt the United States. You follow me? And you can find out that through her books. And the international consequences of our relations with Israel and other countries, it would be significant if some of these allegations came out that are true.
And
the bigger picture is more important than the smaller picture. And I think it's ludicrous to think, oh, they're just buddies out in Florida next to each other, and they're keeping up with each other and they're hiding each other. I think that's complete BS. I think it's more of an issue of national security that we don't even know about. And if you read her books, it would.
I don't need to read her books to know what I'm talking about. What you're kind of arguing here is that two things can't be true at the same time. This would be a legitimate reason had we not seen other information that indicates, number one, he is in the files, because Pam Bondi informed him in May he was in the files. There's no disputing that.
Of course he is.
Emails indicate he knew about the girls.
His name is in the files.
Hold on. Emails indicate he knew about the girls.
Yeah, he had a girl at...
Excuse me.
He had a girl that worked for him that was stolen. Of course his name's in the file.
Hold on.
Because he was directly involved.
Yeah, so let's get into that. So you know what year Trump was banned from Mar-a-Lago, right? I mean, sorry.
You mean Epstein was banned?
Was banned from Mar-a-Lago, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't know the exact year, but what does it matter?
2000. Why does it matter?
Go ahead.
Because he wasn't. First of all, he was still frequenting Mar-a-Lago after he'd been arrested for sex-related offenses. That's number one. Number two.
No, he was not. He was banned from the club.
He was banned.
His membership was.
He was banned in 2007. His first arrest occurred in 2005. So let me finish speaking, please. I know a lot about this case. So the second part is, and this is by Trump's own admission, right, that he warned Epstein to stop, right? Trump openly admitted this on Air Force One. I told him
warned
to stop
him about
again.
what?
Because
taking his girls,
right?
Taking these employees,
right? And according to Epstein,
don't take my employees. You don't steal my
employees.
For your massage people. Do not steal my employees.
Wait, some of these were young girls. Some of these were young women. Like, what's he
17.
stealing? 17 is a kid.
She was working at the she wasn't a massage person for Trump. She was working like take your coat.
No, you're talking about.
She wasn't working as a massage.
You're talking about the girl who was sexually harassed by Epstein that ultimately resulted in the ban. There was absolutely young girls he approached.
In with Australia.
Can I finish, please? So the point is, you don't give someone a warning. They've already been arrested for a sex-based offense. They're a creep. You don't give them a warning. You ban them immediately. You don't give them a warning. So cool. Argue that that's argue it's a lapse in judgment. This is by Trump's own admission, so it's not up for debate. He literally says, I told him to stop. He didn't stop. And then ultimately what happened is he sexually harassed that young girl, and that ended up leading to his permanent ban. But I'm not saying specifically he engaged in, I don't know if he directly engaged in abuse. I'm very concerned when I read files from 2011, though, that contradict what Ghislaine Maxwell said to Todd Blanche. Why is she lying to the Deputy Attorney General, who's his former personal attorney, about in what capacity she witnessed Donald Trump if he never did anything wrong? What do you mean?
She's got huge amount of leverage over the politics. What do you mean? What do I mean? She's got huge. That's why she's alive. She's got huge leverage over the political systems of different governments.
Well, maybe she wouldn't.
She's got. Do you know who her father was?
Maybe she wouldn't be alive.
Do you know who her father is?
Yes, I'm well aware. The connections to Israeli intelligence. Please let me finish.
Mossad.
Yes, I'm well aware.
Epstein was a Mossad agent.
No, that's not been wrong. That's not been substantiated. We know there was absolutely a relationship. Don't make leaps. Don't tell me not to speculate and then make leaps without being able to substantiate. We have not substantiated he was a Mossad agent. There absolutely was connections. And I'm not in a disagreement with you. I'm not in disagreement with you that there's a larger element to this story.
I understand.
But the mistake you're making, in my opinion, is you're dismissing the Trump element, right, in favor of there being a larger element. Two things can be true at the same time. And I think that's what you're not understanding. Sure, I would agree with you. There's absolute, and I don't care about political affiliation when it comes to this particular issue. We need accountability. But you're just trying to skip over the Trump stuff and say, okay, I'm going to only look at the fact that there's a lot more going on here to discredit the idea that Trump's role in this is significant. And that's where you're making a really grave error. Because if it comes out, it doesn't have to be directly engaging in the abuse. If it comes out that his relationship extended beyond what he had previously disclosed publicly, Donald Trump's in big trouble. I mean, big trouble.
Okay, so it hasn't. Can I speak now? It hasn't came out right now. You're admitting that. So we don't know. We're speculating. I understand what you're saying. We're speculating that there's more to the story with Epstein and Trump. It's like speculation. I understand what you're saying. Now, we do find out something, then he should be accountable. But as of now, we don't. All we know is that this girl who was 17 was taking hats and coats, got approached by Epstein. You want to make more money, you can do massages. This is from her mouth, not anybody else. She said this is from her mouth, direct. I did her interview, so I've heard her interview. So now we only know that Epstein stole them, and Trump got pissed and said, hey, don't ever do that again. Don't steal my girls. You're out. You're out of this club. That was 2007.
No, he warned him. He warned him first.
So that's the only. That's the only connection that you can make. And until we see different, then you can make an argument. But you don't have any argument right now,
That's
sir.
the only. Well, first of all, to say I have no argument is crazy after everything I've said. But also, that only works if you discredit the emails that were subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee from the estate. And we're talking about, they did release them. Have you read them? I have.
There's nothing that...
You haven't read them.
I can't say which ones they are because I don't know which ones you're talking about. Well, I read a couple, but I mean, I got limited time on
a couple things. There's a million different things we could talk about in here, but I was trying to keep it specific towards the Ghislaine Maxwell testimony because I think there's a cover up there. I know there is. There's no doubt about it. Whether or not they end up being able to prove it enough to impeach him, I think it's a strong possibility. And by the way, I'm not the only one who thinks this. There's people in Congress who agree with what I'm saying right now and absolutely want to impeach him based off the same things I'm saying. Let me say this, that he was in Epstein's home in the presence of a victim in his home. That's not a public setting. That's a private setting. If you enter someone's home, you're pretty damn close to them, especially when you're in the presence of a victim. That he knew about the girls. If Donald Trump knew about this longer, and there's evidence in here that he knew that Epstein was engaging in these types of behaviors long before that and just continued to be his friend and allow him to frequent his establishments, will you still support him?
You said Trump was in Epstein's home? I've never heard that.
That's in there.
Is that true?
Correct. Yep.
Where'd you get that at?
Where'd
you get that information?
In the Epstein emails. You have not read them, I can tell. They specifically...
Can you bring them up? Because I've never heard...
I don't have it
I've never heard the media say that.
Go look up the stuff about Virginia.
I've never heard...
Why do you think Republicans tried to say that the name was Virginia Guffrey? And that's the name of the redacted person in the files. Remember, Republicans came out and said...
So you're saying it was redacted?
Well, the victim's name was redacted, and they assumed it was Virginia Guffrey. That's never been cleared up because the name was redacted. But if you look at the so anyway, regardless, then they try and say, well, it doesn't matter because she said he didn't abuse her, right? Jesse, thank you so much towards the gift goal. Adam, thank you for the work you do. Thank you so much, Jesse. I really appreciate you. So I'm just simply saying this contradicts the statements. But regardless, if the relationship extended, I mean, your timeline's fucked up too. You don't think 2007 was when he was banned. Do you know when he bought Mar-a-Lago? Do you know about the fight between Epstein and Trump in the bidding for Mar-a-Lago, that they both were bidding on the estate? And there's a lot to this story about their relationship. Somebody said, so it was likely it was Virginia Guffrey.
Does it matter?
No, it's not. It's not. Hold on, I got to address something in the chat.
I would like to make one point.
Can I please just address?
Let me make one point.
Hold on,
I got
to address something in the chat. Hold on. So it's likely it was Virginia Guffrey. That's never been substantiated who it was. That's what Caroline Levitt said. That's what Republicans said. That's not been substantiated.
Okay, so if you read what underestimated by our public on the involvement of this case is not about sex trafficking. This case is about blackmail.
You're wrong.
This case is about
You're doing the same thing you did. I already addressed this. Two things can be true at the same time. You're trying to make...
You're never going to get the answer.
Oh, my God.
You're beating a dead horse. You're never going to get the answer from it.
You're telling me there's no sex trafficking involved in this case?
I'm saying both sides of the aisle are going to cover this up forever. It's beating a dead horse.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying here?
People like me and
both sides
others
of the aisle,
to stop talking about this. That's what it seems like.
You can talk about all you want, but you're arguing against people and dividing them on a subject that's never going to get resolved. I guarantee that.
But I'm not dividing people on this subject.
On my life. Because
how am I dividing people on this subject?
Yes, sir.
Anyone who's divided on this subject with me they need their hard drive checked.
Wrong.
There's plenty of people. Dude.
Yeah, of course they are.
Dude,
Of course they are.
dude, why would you be
That's an
opposed to
arrogant way of
transparency?
thinking.
Why would you be opposed to transparency?
I'm not, but I'm a realist.
But it's
and I'm
not realistic
my
to say
ego
we're
is
not
involved
going.
in this.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why is Prince Andrews being ostracized right now?
Because he's a pedophile.
Yeah, but why do we know that?
Because Virginia released the picture.
Because a victim
She had evidence.
exposed him. And we're actively working on
She had evidence.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Guess what? Do you know how many victims of Epstein there are?
She's dead.
It doesn't matter. You know how many
She's dead.
I understand
Virginia's
that.
dead. She
You don't
died in
think
Australia.
you don't think there's other victims? How many victims of
They
Epstein?
will be dead too.
Oh, you're acknowledging
They will be dead too.
So you're acknowledging that they will be unalived.
Yes, sir.
And you're simultaneously
if they expose
defending
any
a
more than-
concerted effort to conceal it.
No.
Oh
I'm
my
not. It's
God.
beating a dead horse.
Oh my God.
You're never going to have a victim come out because they made an example out of Virginia, and there's never going to be another victim that's going to try to and they're never going to prosecute.
Okay.
It's beating. They're all wrong. It's pedophilia is wrong. Politics are wrong. These are evil people.
How many victims?
These are evil people.
How many victims? First of all, this conversation's weird, almost like you work for someone. You're trying to convince me of something that I know in my heart is not true. How many victims of Epstein are there?
Sir, I don't know dates and I don't know exact numbers of people.
There's
I don't know
almost
names.
2,000. There's almost
Probably 1,000.
There's almost
Yeah.
2,000. So you're talking. There are so many victims.
Yes.
There are so many survivors that haven't even come forward yet. They were young girls. They were children that were scared to come forward. And now they're talking about compiling a list independently. I believe it's being worked on, as a matter of fact. Compiling a list independently so it can be read on the House floor. You don't think that's going to do anything? You don't think that's going to... Yeah, the victims are working on compiling a list. The problem is they're scared for their lives. So shouldn't we be
rightfully so.
Okay, so shouldn't we be supporting them in an attempt to get transparency? Do you understand why these survivors are... Do you understand why... Excuse me. Do you understand why these survivors are brave enough to stand up in front of a podium in front of the world and talk about these things because they want transparency? Would you look them in the face and say you're beating a dead horse?
I understand there's only a few out of thousands, and I understand kind of why.
Well, a few is 3. How many are you? There's way more than
morally
3.
compass.
Okay, a few is 3. There's way more than 3.
Because the thousands of victims, 3.
It wasn't
Why?
3. It's way more
Why?
than that. It's dozens.
Do you understand why? I do.
It's dozens. It's
How
not
many
3.
is it?
I don't know.
Okay, so
dozens.
thousands, and let's say 12. So there is a reason why, because it's not going to help these people. It's going to unlive them.
Yeah,
it's not going to help these victims.
It's not. It's too
You're not
out
going
in
to
the
get
open
financially.
now.
You're not going to get financially compensated.
It's too
Why do
out
we
in
need
the
to know?
open now.
What is it going to help these victims?
Oh my God!
Because your curiosity.
It's funny
because your curiosity. We need to out these victims.
Wait, my curiosity.
Is that correct?
Wait. First of all, my curiosity about people at our government that were inappropriate with children, potentially people in this
You're never
administration.
going to get.
Dude, listen. You kind of.
There's
I'm
a
glad
reason
you said
why
this.
we only have one name.
I'm glad you said this though, because it proves the point. Really, like in regards to your initial argument. Right? Trying to say that there wasn't a concerted effort and I'm making assumptions because really you just don't want to know the truth and you don't think the truth is productive for anyone moving forward. That's crazy. That's your take. It's not that you don't you're not dismissing the idea I have about the effort itself. You see legitimacy there. I know you do. You just don't want it out there.
Yeah, okay, so you got a point. Let me make that's a point. Okay, so my legitimacy is I don't see any benefit with these poor women, dragging them through the mud on a problem. They're not going to get compensated, and the reason I know is because we have pictures of people at the island, and testimony from other people, and all this work, and nobody's been charged.
But
and nobody will be.
Okay. Again,
nobody will be ever charged.
But you know what?
Ever.
But and that may be the case. I don't know. But what I will tell you is that the public will take care of.
Yes.
Do you think Prince Andrew's? Listen, do people have to be charged to face consequences? How's Prince Andrew doing right now? You think he's doing good?
Wait.
You think he's doing good, or you think his life is fucked?
For a pedophile, he's doing great.
Yeah, for
he's
a
not
pedophile,
in jail.
sure, but he's
not fucking.
He's facing consequences.
He's a pedophile.
He's been ostracized. He's been
sorry,
publicly.
excuse my language.
Sometimes publicly shaming people is all we can do in these circumstances. But one thing I will tell you, and I'll leave you with this because I have to go. I'd be willing to go further with you, but I need to run. Is that in relationship to the survivors, they and only they should be making those decisions. You are basing this off of a book you read that makes you believe that there are some like crazy consequences worldwide. Guy, they fearmonger about those things deliberately to scare you so you don't want those files released because they will be held accountable. Did you ever think about that? Do you ever think maybe it's a...
What do you mean by held accountable? You just said that they won't be charged.
Wait, you don't think public shaming can be accountability for people? It happens all the time. Public shaming is a real thing.
Give me a break.
Okay, if someone's in government right now...
Give me a break.
Hold on. If someone's in Congress right now making millions of dollars through... Let's break it down. You have a member of Congress who's making millions of dollars through insider trading. They're a popular politician, whatever the case is, right? They're making a good set, whatever the case is. They're a known figure in Congress. They lose their job. Laugh it off all you want, but sometimes it's not going to be legal consequences. But don't dismiss the idea that this could spur additional investigations. Just not under this administration. That's for damn sure. Have a good day. Oh my God, guys, I have to take a break. That was a difficult debate for me to do, but I appreciate you guys coming. I was on here for 112 minutes, so I need to take a break. Appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much, guys. If you are new here, I would appreciate hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell so you know when I go live, and hitting the thumbs up button on your way out. I would appreciate hitting that thumbs up button and that subscribe button on your way out. Thank you to everybody who contributed to the gifting goal. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Hope you guys have your Christmas trees up. Jessica Marie, 112 minutes. Jessica Marie, how much is 112 minutes? How much is 112 minutes, Jessica Marie? 1990. How much is 2 hours? So how many minutes am I short there? Yeah, I mean, it's... Thank you so much, Steffi. I appreciate you. Yeah, that was kind of an embarrassing thing to say there. How dare me be 8 minutes off? Oh, I thought you were talking shit, Jessica. My bad. I thought you were a Trumpy talking shit. It's hard to tell in here. We got a lot of Trump fuckers in here. Thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have your Christmas tree up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Watch a Christmas movie tonight. Maybe pick your favorite Christmas movie, you know. I didn't cut you off, Larry. Okay? No one cut you off, Larry. No one cut you off, Larry. I don't ever cut people off. The only people I cut off is if you're saying something dumb. That's the only reason I cut you off. But I don't cut people off. Larry. Larry the MAGA Larry. Give your favorite Christmas movie in the chat on your way out. Give your favorite Christmas movie in the chat on the way out. Yeah, I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful night. I'll see you soon. Take care.